going on, guys? My name is Brandon and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Pokemon Masters EX video. In this video, we're going to be covering yet another new sync pair. In BEA and Sirfetch'd, we're getting a lot of new sync pairs, guys, so keep on the lookout for these coming in the next month. Now, BEA and Sirfetch'd come in May 15th. Now, before we get into all the details, if you do enjoy this content, drop a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so you don't miss any of my videos, all that good stuff. Now let's get into it. So BEA and Sirfetch'd, I almost said Farfetch'd. It's a fighting striker, physical, 5-star with a potential 6-star EX. Weakness is psychic. HP is 613, attack 370, defense 121, special attack is 220, special defense 119, and speed 221. Now, looking at these stats right off the bat, your HP is good, your attack is very high, 370, that's at level 135 with the new cap. Defense and special defense are not so great. Special attack is 220 and speed is 221, which is kind of mediocre speed. Now, looking into the moves, we have Meteor Assault, which is 4 bars. It's a fighting physical move. It's 160 base power and 100% accuracy. And do keep in mind too that these base powers are based on 1 out of 5, so if you do end up getting BEA and Sirfetch'd 5 out of 5, that base power is going to increase. Now, we also have X Attack and X Speed. Both have 2 uses. X Attack is going to sharply raise the user's attack. X Speed is going to sharply raise the user's speed. So, use those to buff up. It looks like a pretty good self-buff as far as attack and speed go. But we're going to move on to the trainer moves called Hold Strong. It's got 2 uses. It sharply raises the user's defense, raises the user's evasiveness, and gradually heals the user as well. So, kind of boost up that defense. The defense is only at 121, so even if you get it maxed out 20 out of 20, right, that's an extra 40 points, so that's 161. You're still not even breaking 200, so Hold Strong might be really good in those situations. I mean, looking at Sirfetch'd right now, you can raise your attack, speed, defense, pretty good self-buff. But now that we've gone over the moves, let's move on to the sync move. Okay, we got our sync move, our passives. So the sync move is called Worthy Foe Meteor Assault. It's got 250 base power, no additional effects. Our passives are Sharp Entry 2, which sharply raises the user's crit rate when the Pokemon enters the battle. We also have Crit Strike 3, so that is an extra 30% damage when landing critical hits. And our last passive is Steady Aim, so our crit hit rate cannot be lowered. Kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be a stage in the future where it can actually lower your crit rate. We actually haven't seen that in Pokemon Masters at all since launch, so it's going to be interesting to see how they implement that, because if there's a passive, then there's usually something associated with that passive that can lower that crit rate or do whatever is preventing it, or do whatever the passive is preventing. But that's it for the stats and the moves. Now we are going to get into their sync grid. Okay, so we have their sync grid up now. As always, I'm going to go over the yellow tiles first because they're usually the more important ones. So starting on our left here, top left, we have On the Run 3, so once per battle drastically raises the user's evasiveness in a pinch. Now, as I said in my previous video, which is going to be linked in the top right for Kyrem's sync grid and details and all that good stuff, I don't really like in a pinch because, again, it meets that HP threshold that kind of puts you in a vulnerable position. Not a fan of that. What I am a fan of, though, is Sharp Entry. So it raises the user's crit hit rate when the Pokemon enters a battle. Now, this is Sharp Entry 1. Now, we already have Sharp Entry 2, so you pick this up on the grid. As soon as Sirfetch'd enters the battle, your crit's going to be maxed. You don't need a crit buffer. And again, as we've stated, he can also buff attack, speed, and defense. Looking really good as a self-buff. We don't have anything in the top right, so I'm going to go down to the top left here. So we're going to have Soften Up 1, critical hits land more easily when the user attacks with a sync move. Really good for getting crits on sync. I know there have been issues with getting crits on sync. Sometimes you just don't roll a crit. So unfortunate, but we don't really need that if we're picking up sharp entry, so maybe a pass on that. Critical Ferocity 2 has a moderate chance, so that's 30%, of raising the user's attack when the user's move is a critical hit. Maybe you want to pick this up. I mean, again, you can buff that attack with X attack and maybe bring, like, I don't know, Hilbert, and you'll be good to go. But moving on to Nervous Energy 1, raises the user's speed whenever the user is confused, flinching, or trapped. I'd probably pass on that. Agile Entry raises the user's evasiveness when the Pokemon enters a battle. And lastly, we have Inertia. Inertia is really good because if you get X speed, MPR, then you can max out your speed and do a ton of damage. As we've seen with Inertia, what is it? Barry has Inertia, Alessa has Inertia. I think even Ho-Oh's Grid may be coming out soon and has Inertia. Yeah, I think so. So, really good. Now moving on to the red tiles, of course we have X attack MPR as well as 2 X speed MPRs, so we might be looking at inertia builds for sure. And we also have Meteor Assault Critical Clock, so small chance of reducing the sync move countdown by 1 when the user lands a critical hit. And over here we have Hold Strong MP Refresh, so 30% chance of restoring that MP when used. Up to our right, we have Meteor Assault Move Gauge Refresh 1. So, being that it's a Refresh 1, I don't know why they give us 1. I mean, if it was like 3, maybe we'd go for it. Maybe it would be worth mentioning, but since it's a 1, I don't really see it being that beneficial. Meteor Assault Crit Charge 9, so charges the user's move gauge by 1 when the user lands a critical hit. Now that might be worth getting. So, along with that, of course, we have our sync buff nodes. We also have Meteor Assault nodes. Being that Meteor Assault is literally our only, it's our only move that we can attack with, so that might be worth picking up if we're doing that build. But something, if you're going 3 out of 5. Maybe we would do a Sync Nuke. I don't even think we can reach it. We could probably do something like that if we wanted Inertia. Yeah, it's going to be real hard to get all those sync tiles. We would have to maybe do something along the lines of... Yeah, even that, I mean, the most you're probably going to get is 5 tiles, which isn't bad. I mean, because 5 tiles raises it by, what, 125? You're already at a base power of 250. So that's a pretty hard-hitting sync move. But if you're wanting to go, like, Inertia, you could do, like, something like an Inertia Meteor Assault build, something like that. Maybe grab, can we get... Maybe get a little bit more defense in there. And then maybe something like that. That way you have a chance to get MP Refresh on your X speed to max your speed out for Inertia. That way you also can grab Meteor Assault Crit Charge 9. So when you land a critical hit, get some of that move gauge back. And then down here, Critical Ferocity, so raising the attack when we crit. That might be a build to look at. Now, if you're going for something like 1 out of 5, I mean, you definitely want to get X speed, MPR. Maybe do something with Meteor Assault. 1 out of 5 is pretty limited, and you can usually... Let's see if we can... Some grids, yeah, like that. 1 out of 5, you can literally fill everything out. But 2 out of 5... 2 out of 5 kind of gives you a little bit more liberty, so you definitely want to get your MPRs. Critical Ferocity is probably something you want to do as well. Get some Meteor Assault nodes over here. Maybe a Hold Strong MP Refresh, something along the lines of that for 2 out of 5. Or you could just pick up some sync tiles, but I really want to stay away from Meteor Assault Move Gauge Refresh 1. Again, doesn't really provide that much utility, so. But that has been BEA and SIRFETCH'D. Really solid striker, honestly. If you have defense buffs, which, I mean, he can inherently increase them himself, so awesome self buffer. I've said it maybe 3 or 4 times during this video, but you can really buff up your attack, speed, defense, and crit rate all by himself. He doesn't need practically any help aside from defenses. And, you know, if you're going against a physical defense team or a team that, you know, hits with physical attacks, you can just buff it up yourself. But again, that's been the breakdown of BEA and SIRFETCH'D. Again, they're coming May 15th, so if it's one of your favorite sync pairs, save up your gems, but it is getting close to anniversary, so keep that in mind as well. But that's about it for me today. Again, my name is Brandon. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me today. If you did enjoy this video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications, all that good stuff. And I will see you all in the next video.